Hello and welcome to the Registry Insider. I'm Bill Seifarth, CEO and Executive Director for the National Registry of EMTs. And in today's episode, we're continuing on that theme of the workforce challenges facing EMS across the country and what are perhaps some creative solutions to address it. If you recall, we had Dr. Ash Panchal on a few episodes ago to talk about the data as it relates to this. And we talked about different angles that people are taking to address this. And today I'm happy to have Dannie Wurtz with me. She's the CEO for the International Medic Solutions based out of San Diego, California. And she's going to provide some insights as to how they're being pretty creative in helping to address this challenge in EMS. So Dannie, thanks for taking time to join me for today's episode. I'm looking forward to our conversation.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Cool. So Dannie, what is it that International Medic Solutions does in terms of creatively helping the workforce shortage, which again is impacting virtually every state and every city across the country?
Yeah, absolutely. So what we've done is identified a kind of a win-win situation. So Australia has an overabundance of paramedics. They graduate thousands per year, and only about 20% of those have placement opportunities because they simply just don't have the turnover that we often see in other areas. We combine that with the challenges that we're facing over here, along with a specific visa that's an Australia to U.S. specific visa, and just kind of worked with, we worked with National Registry, we worked with the local college here to create the education pipeline, identified the gap, did kind of a gap analysis to see what's the differences between their graduating, their level of scope at their graduation levels, and then compared to what our expectations are of our paramedics, and built a curriculum in alignment with COAM's accreditation to bring a solution to, bringing more folks onto the road here.
So in summary, I'm hearing you say you take a surplus of paramedics that you have in Australia in this case, and the shortage we have here, put them through an educational gap so they get the knowledge, skills validated, and abilities verified to be equivalent to the U.S. medic. And then they can, once they complete that, the gap education, complete our test, they're able to function as employers. So can you give a little bit more detail as to kind of how this service works? It's obviously, I guess, like a concierge service for employers that can potentially get additional paramedics in their workforce.
Yeah, absolutely. Once we've identified employers who are interested in the program and willing to work with us, excuse me, we collect all their information, so we know exactly their locations, about the area that they serve, what the pay looks like, benefits, all of that, kind of what their full package looks like. Then we take that information, we build a recruitment tool out of it. We reach out to our network in Australia, and then we start talking to students over there, or medics, both students, new graduates and experienced medics, who are interested in coming to work for that specific employer. And once we've made that relationship, we start working through the entire process, and we handle everything. So what we do is we take the burden off the employer to have all the knowledge on everything that we do. And then we help kind of hold the hand of the medic as they're coming over through the process of the training before they get here, immigration. Well, they're non-immigrants, but through the visa process, we put them through the education process, logistics, housing, all of that to bring them here to work through, while also working with the employer to navigate the parts that they have to work with, which would be like their part in the visa, their part in the offer letters, just bringing that relationship together. And we work with, again, the medic, and we work with the employer, whether that's their HR, talent acquisition, legal, training and education department, to just make it a seamless process all the way across, being there to facilitate, because we have the knowledge of the whole process from A to Z.
Cool. That's it's a very comprehensive and complicated process. And obviously, we at the National Registry and co-MSP, we have an advanced pathway process, which historically has been used a lot for like nurses and physicians that want to get a paramedic or an EMT credential, but also can be used internationally.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and the college that we work with here locally in San Diego has developed the process, the training curriculum, in alignment with the advanced placement program that you guys have put out there, and it's worked wonderfully. It's absolutely worked fantastic.
So I think you've alluded to this a little bit, but what's appealing for the Australian medics to actually come over here to the United States?
Yeah, so they graduate, like I mentioned earlier, several thousands of medics per year, and only about 20% of them are lucky to get placement because they just don't have, they have 7 state departments. So when people go there, they stay there for a career and they really don't, it doesn't turn over. So they don't have as many openings. So these medics look to go other places. Historically, a lot of them have gone to the UK every year. Arguably, I'd say our weather's a lot better than the UK, though they've got some great travel opportunities there. We're just kind of redirecting that plane over here to give them some other options. They want to get out, they want to get that experience, and it makes them a lot more marketable back in Australia when they eventually do go home to gain those positions. So they're not competing against new grads, they're competing against people with experience.
So what's the average time it takes these Australian medics to kind of start their process and then finish it over here, and kind of walk us through that journey they go through to become a U.S. medic that's certified by National Registry and licensed by state?
Sure. I can speak to our pipeline. I know other people have our process. Other people have done it a little bit differently. So what we do is we, once we've engaged them and we know that they're interested in the process and we've done backgrounds, we vet them, we interview them, we go through a lot of steps to make sure they're the right fit for this opportunity. Then we get them into our process. Once we've aligned them with an employer, we do a couple months worth of remote education before they come here. Then once they arrive, we work through all of their visa, bank account, social security, all those logistics. We help them to work through. Then they sit in our transition program here in San Diego. Once we're completed with that and they've done all their requirements, then they will take their national registry exam. Then they go to their employer. And it's a 2-year visa. So they've got a minimum 2 years. It's a visa with unlimited renewals. So at the end of their 2 years, if they're really happy where they are, then they can extend to an unlimited amount of time. And what we've seen so far, at least with our folks that have been through the process, we're batting about 100% right now. Those who've come through that are far enough along the process to see how what they would like to do at the end are all looking to re-up and stay with their employer. So the ROI from the employer is fantastic once they've extended especially past that first 2 years.
Fantastic. That's fascinating. And if I understand correctly, generally speaking, in Australia, paramedics have pretty extensive education, which is fairly comparable to us, which makes that gap education fairly easy, I presume, once they get here.
Yeah, what we see, it's a bachelor's degree in paramedicine. So they are incredibly knowledgeable. And I would say they take a very holistic approach to EMS. There's some things I see their scope of practice isn't quite as high as ours is at the time of graduation. That's part of that gap analysis that we had to do to see the areas that they don't have that expectation. So they're not trained on certain things. So we have to fill that. But the knowledge that they have, the body is the body, right? Regardless of where you're at. So they've got all that anatomy, physiology. They understand all of that. It's just a matter of showing them additional techniques. We can teach just about anybody to intubate, but to understand the physiology and oxygenation and all that kind of stuff and the concern, then they're fantastic clinicians. They do, what I have seen is they really look at the patient holistically and are just incredible practitioners. So it's a lot of education that they have, met with a lot of what we do, and just seeing those little bit, I wouldn't say a lack of anything, just a difference. And we just have to fill that.
Good. Thank you for that explanation. So we talked obviously specifically about Australia, and you had mentioned earlier that some of these Australian medics go to the UK, go to the UAE, go to South Africa, and elsewhere. And Canada too. I forgot to mention Canada.
Yeah.
How many potentially per year are we looking at that could potentially come to the United States? Obviously, you have limitations based on what your program can do, but what are the untapped potential resources that could be coming to the United States? What numbers are we looking at?
Yeah. Well, there's about 2,000 or so per year that graduate that aren't going to be able to find work right away. So anywhere, historically, the UK has taken about 500 a year. And, it's really just a matter of those who are looking to go abroad. Mm-hmm. What I have seen is these medics tend to be very well traveled. You'll see a lot of them after uni or even after high school, before university, take the gap year and they travel. They live abroad. Some of them just on their own live abroad. They do really want to travel and learn the world before they settle somewhere. And this also gives them an opportunity to come try something different. like I would say maybe between 500 and 2,000 per year there is available for those, and then those who are willing to do that travel and make that commitment.
Fantastic. So are there other countries other than Australia where potentially could be used to bring into the United States and help with the workforce shortage and challenges we're facing?
Yeah, absolutely. We get requests from all over the world: Ireland, New Zealand, Canada, even some other countries I wouldn't have expected it from. So right now, the visa that we use is specific to Australia. There is another visa that's being pushed to open up to other countries, which would be fantastic if that does get approved, because then we could tap into some other other countries.
Excellent.
After, of course,
Very
we
cool.
review their education and make sure that
Yeah, they
it's
have to do the
what
same.
we
They have to go
to
through the
do.
same process.
Yeah,
That
absolutely.
the Aussies go through. So
Reassess
where,
that.
so people are curious, where can they go to find out more about your program, International Medic Solutions? Where can they go for that information?
Yeah, you can go to our website. It's internationalmedicsolutions.com, not medical, internationalmedicsolutions.com. Go to our website. We've got social media. We're pretty active on social media to share a lot of the fun stuff that they're doing. So either one of those. And my contact information is also on our website. If you have any questions, you can reach out there or through social media.
Wonderful. Well, Dannie, thank you. Thank you for kind of giving a snapshot overview as to what this creative solution is as far as getting more medics into the workforce. Is there anything else that I've missed that you feel will be a benefit for the listeners to be aware of about the process and how to go about getting in touch with you if they're interested in pursuing this?
Yeah, if you're interested, whether you're a paramedic looking to come here or an employer that has some questions, don't hesitate to reach out. Kind of, as I mentioned earlier, our goal is to make that process as seamless for the employer and the medic as possible, and really make it a fun, enjoyable process. And we vet the employees as much as we vet the employers, because we want to create a really great relationship, creating that win-win of they have a need and we have a need. So bringing that all together, the great part is being able to facilitate that win-win is what we really enjoy.
Awesome. Well, thank you again for sharing that information, Dannie, and for what you're doing to help bring in more medics to the States. So fantastic. And thank you for joining us today. And as always, stay safe. Thank you for joining us for this episode. If you wouldn't mind, please click the like and subscribe buttons, as well as the notifications so you can get notifications of upcoming episodes. Also, for the latest and greatest happenings of the National Registry, feel free to go to nremt.org. Thank you very much. And again, stay safe.